Little girl. I got a white girl.
Dressed in a real estate
Yeah.
here.
Oh yeah. And her and Jeff.
So I got this bizarre thing with my phone. When I would get
Okay, we saw, everybody has to turn the investigator now. Actually, can somebody out there confirm that you can hear us? Since we have quite an audience today. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And our first order of business is to have introductions. So we'll go around and introduce ourselves, and I will go ahead and start. I'm Winnie Logan. I'm the director at the Newcastle Henry County Public Library.
Karen Call, Union County Public Library Director.
Brenda Campbell, Hagerstown, Jefferson Township Public Library Director.
Judy Turpinning, Director of Jefferson County Public Library.
Nancy Disbrow, Andrew Stiles Township Public Library.
Britta Dorsey from Thorntown. I'm representing the cataloging committee.
Vanessa Martin, Director at Greensburg, Decatur County Public Library.
Jason Boyer, Head of MIS, State Library. Scott Tracy, West Lafayette Public Library. Anything you want to do with me?
Cheryl Sollers, Director of the Westfield Washington Public Library.
Krista Ledbetter, Director at Morgan County Public Library.
Wendy Nambum with the State Library.
I'm Brandon Weir, I'm IT person at Zion.
Here's a guest. And I'm Monica Open. I'm the Evergreen, Indiana coordinator at the State Library. So.
Okay. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to take a look at the agenda. I would entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
It's been a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. And also, hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at the minutes. Are there any corrections or additions that need to be made?
Thank you, Winnie, for taking.
You're welcome. I started looking at those. I was like, oh, that seems familiar. And then I realized, oh yeah, I was the one that did that 2 months ago. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the minutes as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the Indiana State Library report.
All right, we are remarkably busy on the migration front. And I've got lots of updates for you. Clinton Liberty was supposed to have migrated last week. There was an issue and their project manager was not available. So we have postponed. Right now we're looking at dates in late September to reschedule their migration. They are still migrating. Everything's in good shape. We just need to work around some staffing issues. Fort Mill Vernon Township Public Library is doing really well. I saw their director, Kirsten, at the new director's workshop. She said they're grinding away on things. Their staff is, of course, very enthused at the prospect of recataloguing everything now that they're well into the process. But they're still making very excellent progress. Henry Henley is ready to set the date. We're looking at about 3 weeks from now. So I will be one of the first librarians to catalog their entire collection and come in about 7 to 8 months, which is fantastic. Putnam County, some of you may have heard the director of Putnam County who was driving their migration push to Evergreen is no longer at the library, but has spoken with the staff there and they're still very excited. So we are moving forward. We've started doing data polls. Don't have any dates in mind yet. We're just doing the initial collection evaluation. So far it looks really good. And then we'll probably begin by the end of the year. Ridgeville shouldn't be on here. They've migrated. Actually, they've come live since the last time you met me. So I think it was like the next week since you guys met. But their migration went really well, and their numbers have been awesome. I know they were a little nervous going into it. What sort of an impact was it going to have? But they got materials that first week, which was very impressive, from another library, and they shipped out 15 items their first day, which for a collection of less than 8,000 items. That's a pretty impressive goal. And Spiceland also emailed me over the weekend and said they're ready to set a date in the next few weeks. So setting that up as well. We'll probably have one last cataloging party the day before their go live to capture any outstanding things. They have a lot of unusual local collection items that have slowed down the process a little bit of cataloging. They require a little more original work than some of our other libraries have. But we are looking at potentially bringing in 3 libraries in September, so it's going to be a busy month. But 2 of those have been cataloging in, so it should be minimally disruptive. It's more about there will just be more options on the table.
What does that bring our number to? With the 6 and the 3 more
Well, with
in the upper one?
we're at 121 live right now. With 3 more coming, it will be 124, and then we have more.
Nice.
Development projects, a lot of these are kind of in a state of wait and see because we are waiting for the new project coordinator to start. The project had an outstanding interim contract employee who really did a great job of keeping everything that we had going. But we haven't started anything new in a couple of months, so this list is going to start changing pretty rapidly. By the time you see this presentation in October, we'll probably have a whole new set of things to look at, because as you may be noticing, most of these say something about bug fix or already in development, so we're getting very close to seeing several of these released. With the long-term projects, same deal. The Sprint Zero for acquisitions with several infrastructure changes has been released for 3.4. Sprint 3 is in active development. DigiMe consultation stage 2 is underway, and then Public Health is in the bug fixing level. So we should see that soon. Special project participation, we're still seeing increases here. Worked with the libraries last week. Added all the things. So transiting media is continuing to expand across the libraries that have each of these formats. Find Free continues to go up. Since the last time we met, we've had at least 3 libraries join fully Find Free. So we've seen a lot of uptake on that. We had another library join Juno Find Free, and auto renewals are up 3 libraries since the last time you guys met. On the training front, the reports manual that I told you guys about at the last meeting that I was bummed to not have finished, it's done. It's been released. So it's been out there for a while. I haven't gotten a lot of feedback on it, so hopefully it wasn't too confusing to anyone, but it is available now and have been able to point people in its direction. The live webinar training series starts this week, Thursday, and runs through the next week to get all 5 of the classes in. So cataloging is this week, hold circulation, global administration, and reporting are next week. On the fiscal front, back of your packet are the nuts and bolts numbers of where we are right now. Couple of big purchases. We got this year's replacement server. So that has been ordered and it's in the data center. It's not up and live yet, but it is in place as soon as that can be set up. We were able to get a very excellent price on it, so we have some leftover funds, kind of balances out last year when we were a fair bit over our target. The development initiative funds have been transferred to the development initiatives books, so those are out of the way. And continue with the consortium collection development, and can't remember what the token is. That might be left over from last month and I forgot to unfold it. I think it is. I apologize. We haven't had any new expenditures in that amount. Oh, I know what that is. I stepped over from the bank. So that was when we got checks. So we're still doing really well. We are not quite halfway through our annual spend. I do have a quote on my desk right now for the next archive processing. So we'll be sending that in this week, and that will I'll come out of the authority control maintenance line, and I'm trying to remember it's about 2/3 of that.
I think so.
So we're going to be sending out 260,000 records for evaluation and fixing. I have a whole stack of invoices to be put together with Gale courses and the Indiana periodicals purchase. So those are going to be going out shortly. And our new vendor is finally, after 10 months of work, in place for library cards and barcodes. Everybody that I've talked to so far that's ordered from them has said they are very good to work with as far as getting stuff set up. I haven't heard from anybody yet who's actually received anything. So if your library orders something and it comes in and it's really awesome or it's really terrible, please let me know. So we can try to address that. Because state procurement is also asking me, how is it going? I'm like, don't know yet. So, but the best part is they're willing to do it on a running basis, so we don't have to wait for pools anymore. You can just order whenever you want. So far that seems to be going really well. I keep hearing around, oh yeah, I ordered this week. Hopefully it's all good stuff coming in. We're getting an order in at the state library soon, so I'm going to go camp on Johnson Test to see the quality of those. From the subcommittees, Britta is the new cataloging committee chair.
I'm still here. It looked like we actually haven't met since the last executive committee meeting. So I assume Anna went over what we might have gone over. So nothing, I guess, has changed since.
The only thing that I have is that the procedures have been consolidated into a single document now instead of a multi-chapter thing. But it's going out to the cataloging committee for review first because it's slightly reorganized to make sure it's going to be in good shape and has a couple of new sections in it to reflect some of the things from our last meeting. So.
Thank you. So that's all I have, actually.
The e-content group met. Carrie had other things he needed to leave for. He's the new chair of the e-content committee. We talked about Urbio, which is it's new in this market. It is a community software program that they're trying to expand into this area, and they're reaching out to the consortia and support agencies. See about getting library calendars integrating them. The goal is for someone in your community to put in their zip code and they can see all of the community events all in one place. And if you subscribe to the different agencies that make sense to, maybe it doesn't make sense if you don't have kids to subscribe to the local elementary. But you do want to know what's going on at the local museum and the library and so forth. So we're going to be sending out some information about that to the e-content list. There are a couple of things that are not fully formed yet because they are very new in our market. But let everybody take a look. And it is free for libraries. So the actual impact is not huge unless it has a big uptake in your community and gets robust. We also talked at length about Overdrive. Going to be putting together some talking points to help address long lead times with things like Macmillan that libraries can use and share with patrons. While Macmillan's on everybody's lips right now because of their new stance, it's not the only time we've had something like this happen where we can't get additional copies of something. So, based on the results of the survey that we received, we are going to go ahead and switch up to 75 titles. So we'll be getting more periodicals. Everybody still gets a discount, so they're going to be paying less than the original quote, but we'll be able to get a lot more material for still less money than we'd initially expected. And Susan Turner is going to be working with me on the school integration for the Indiana group. Where we're going to be talking with the community about the possibility of moving towards a more centralized collection development policy. As I said, Carrie is the chair and Vanessa has been to become the secretary of the committee. So, and in October, Mary's going to be trying to help us out here. We'll hopefully have a demonstration for anybody that's interested of Reference USA. They're back in the market and they're hungry apparently. So see what we can do about that for anybody that is either has already made the switch from A to Z or is considering making the switch from A to Z or doesn't have a comparable product at all. Patron services, Lori couldn't join us. There we go. I'm say this doesn't have nearly enough writing on it. Lori Long is chair and Lori Durbin is chair-elect. So we're going to have a series of Loris that are going to be joining us over the next couple of years. They discussed the fall workshop. It's probably going to be a collaboration with the cataloging committee. So we'll do all things for everybody with an eye to reaching across that aisle. Sometimes circulation and cataloging struggle to communicate, and several of the items under discussion were how can we improve that communication so everyone's on the same page. Added some things to documentation and discussed once more how do we deal with damaged items and try to define those. So been working on more information with how to improve communications. That's going to be their focus over the next little bit, not only with catalogers, but with the community and even staff within the building. Or other groups. Vanessa, I think I know we have named some new members for the,
I think Scott and Nancy.
yes, but we haven't had a chance to get everybody on board yet. So that's my fault. There we go.
Hey, did I volunteer for something again?
Strategic plan. Yeah.
Have to strategically
So-
plan the strategic plan.
Yes, we do. We need to.
Strategic.
All right, so that takes us through all the subcommittee stuff.
Is there any unfinished business? Didn't anyone know that? Okay. All right, new business, staff updates.
Yes. So some of you might have heard already, but Ruth Frazier is going to be joining us in September as the new Evergreen Development and Training Coordinator. I'm very excited. She's going to be taking over both the development consortium and she was making a very important point.
I can tell. I can see her. This is a friends group, wasn't it? Like this is really good passion, wasn't she?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, this is actually the Gala. So, and she'll be taking over all the trainings. So, see some, looking forward to seeing some expanded trainings, not just on the webinar and in-person front, but also finally getting some traction on the online classes as well. So that's the one that most of you know about. We've got one that most of you probably don't. Jason is leaving us.
Oh, that's exactly the Sound State Library.
You can't do that.
We'll be happy for him eventually.
I'll still be in.
Eventually.
He's reachable.
Like he's gonna answer his phone. Oh, Evergreen.
Yeah.
Well, this position went live yesterday, so if you know anybody that would be a good fit, have them go ahead and take a look at it. It's up on the state job site, and I'll be posting about it everywhere tomorrow.
For the record, I'm not stepping into those shoes. Congratulations.
So still
Yeah.
working with covering and stuff.
It's more than I signed up for.
Did you have to say anything when you have an audience?
That's about as elegant as I get. So yeah, like I've been pointing out, I am not leaving physically. So I expect to still drag my little green Evergreen card around the state. Check out how we're doing, so to speak. I'll probably retire from libraries if I cannot retire at all. So.
All right. With that in mind, we had talked about the fact that transition is going to be a little rocky because there's so much he's currently managing. And he has clearance from his new employer for us to open up a support contract. And I wanted permission from you guys to use that line item out of our budget to address.
I think you're gonna have to be more persuasive.
I'm not sure.
I move we use these line item from the budget to contract with Jason.
Absolutely, positively. Can we make that to 2029?
What you said. That's what I'm moving.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Opposed, nay. Thank you.
Hang on, Chad. Yep. Chad.
Don't go Jason.
All right, and then our next point of session is actually from Scott. We wanted to discuss the pre-due notice language. There's some issues with this not matching up well with libraries that have auto renewal in place.
So a patron called one of our staff members and had an issue with, so we're reciprocal with Canoe. And they're very specific because they're on their own and they do their own thing, and that's cool. As we all know, not everyone does auto renewals, so the language has to be a little bit not so specific, depending on whether or not you do that. And he had this problem with saying, oh, it may or may not be renewed, and then on the day of, I get some other notice. So I was wondering if there is a way to maybe fine tune the language where we could put in something that says your library may or may not auto renew, so that you don't get,
Well, not everyone charges fines anymore either, so.
correct.
Right.
Which we do auto renewals, we don't charge fines, but again, Evergreen is very good at home rule. So the language has to be kind of massaged for that. So if there's a way to look at it, maybe, put in something that says, hey, your library may or may not auto renew or something, so they're not, he gets his notices right out. So that's it. Discussion?
Just to be sure, there's no way to do separate notices for different groups.
We're gonna be contracted with Jason, right?
Yeah, this is how this works. So there's either the one that everyone shares, or everybody has their own, even though most of them will be the same.
Okay.
And that's even more for the system to process.
Right.
So that one's not real great.
Not a good option. I just wanted to make sure
Now,
before
I
we
can,
hash it out.
since we do keep lists just for stats and things, and I have to know to put it in the system to actually make these things happen, I could see how difficult it is to just say, here's a list of numbers. If their home library is in this list, use different text. The trouble is someone has to keep that up, and we absolutely don't want to tell you you can only go find free in January. If you want to do it 2 weeks from now, that's fine. So someone's got to stay on top of that.
Right.
But if that is a reasonable thing speed-wise,
To me,
would be
that
one way
sounds
to
not
deal with it.
reasonable. And you
Well,
said
no,
the
I mean
words
the
of the
simpler way.
system
Yeah.
processing more,
Oh, no, yeah.
that was what I needed.
I
to know.
wouldn't absolutely wouldn't do the everyone gets their own. I just mean there might be a way to get close to that and still just have the one set of notices. Just put some more ifs in there. But like I said, someone has to pay attention and update all this list of who
Anytime
is
somebody
and isn't.
changes.
Yeah,
After 2019.
yeah. Oh, I got a week and a half to figure this out. So
Well, and my thing was just maybe there's a way to sort of say, your library may or may not have this.
Yeah.
And so talk to your friendly local librarian and we'll answer any questions you have. I saw the exact person came in and I had a conversation with him and he was very like, okay, very cool about it. Thanks for talking to me.
Well, and I would think there'd be a way to word that, make it necessarily vague for everybody. Another thing, I let people email renewals, even
Yeah,
though it
so
says, it says you can't reply to it. I'm always telling people, reply, because it comes to, we have it set for the reply to come to us. And I push that as a way to renew, and we have several patrons who use that.
Mhm.
I will say that's not guaranteed to work.
Isn't it only if you, as long as we have our email set?
I try to tell that to the systems, but depending on, that's up to their email client. It's technically, it is from us, and we say reply to your address. You've been getting some.
I've been getting them,
Yeah,
yeah.
some work, but that's just up to their email client. It usually works, but someone might
Well,
get missed, and then
You may be able to reply to this email. You may be able to renew items, or they may be renewed automatically, and you may not be charged fines.
we're already up to 3 or 4 different combinations of things. So.
When we went to Pine Free, it was so easy, like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, great.
Is this a, committee pass along for language?
It can be.
Somebody-
Patron services meets in September.
This is somebody really good at
Hash it out.
rehashing something. I think it's gonna,
Good ideas. Pass along.
it's a lot of may or may not.
It is a lot of there.
I mean, I
Could
just
it-
simply thought your library like to auto renewals, and if so,
What if you took all of that out? What if you just said these items are due such and such day? Just made it.
I would take all the names out.
Yeah, take all of the stuff out. This is
You're
what's
good.
due. Contact your local library
this
for their
surely-
policies concerning renewals and fines.
Because surely they understand how a library works by this point.
Maybe it doesn't need to, I
I've stopped
think that
assuming a long
confuses,
time
I think it's gonna
ago.
confuse people.
Yeah, Scott, if you take out the word overdue, because the
Yeah.
people that are fine-free, they can still get fines if it
If
goes
you
to
don't,
us.
that's
right.
So if you just say, please return above items to avoid fines, you're not saying what kind of fines,
Yeah.
just fines.
Yeah,
Then
and
why-
my whole impetus for this thing was just to avoid freaking people out.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I think we want to avoid confusion. We don't want to add more.
Right. Ultimately, what I say is, come in or call me up.
Yeah.
I'll handle it.
Well, and that's why I think maybe even just,
Yeah.
these are when they're due.
Return these items.
Now, is this a
If
thing
you want
that's,
to keep them longer,
And-
please
and just-
contact us. If
Yeah.
you want to keep them longer, please contact us,
Yeah.
and maybe we may be able to arrange it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Scott said, come in or call.
Yeah, call,
Yeah.
yeah.
is this a thing
Contact
for
your library.
patrons?
Talk to
Is
your
it-
library.
Should this be an EC
Depends on how much time you want to spend on it.
thing? Not a lot.
So someone else.
I think it sounds like a patron services can do.
I just don't want to step on toes. That's those people are
I'm leaning
cool.
for the simplify.
Yeah, I think so too.
They can also do the work.
Bring your stuff back.
Sure.
Here's your due dates, here's your items. You figure it out. So whatever you do. Call us, contact us, so we can help you figure it out.
And maybe those of you who are not in the multi-library system, because we've got the county, we've got Purdue, so they get multiple emails from people and they don't know your system versus that system versus
Right.
that system. And if that's not your problem, then I don't want to turn it into anything. I'll just individually talk to people as they come in.
I mean, does anybody else have this issue? So, I mean, are we going to the least common denominator here?
I was gonna say, I
One
frequently
person?
have to explain the auto renewals to people, even though we've been telling them.
Well, yeah.
And how long have you been doing it?
Telling them, and then they come in and they're like, I need to renew this, and you're like, oh, it looks like an auto renewed, and they're like, what's that? So.
But that's not gonna stop.
That's not gonna stop, I don't
Notice.
think it is even with the notice, but just the fact that they get a notice, they think they still have to call and renew, but I'm not suggesting do away with pre-due notices.
Something else to consider with auto renewals is, I don't know how it would be received right now, but doing it the day before and emailing them later in that day, before they've already packed everything up to go to the library, because things are due today. That would be one way to let them know, hey, these things all auto renewed for tomorrow, so don't worry about them. Here's what they're due. But I know some people don't like that it lose a day to do that. So it could also be something that's changed in a bug fix later on. If you're due tomorrow, you get the full 3 weeks or whatever.
I've also
sort of
noticed
thing.
too, the auto renewals go out a little bit later in the day. So like I turned an item in the other day on its due date, and then like 2 hours later, I got an auto renewal notice for that item.
Got renewed
that
at 3 in the
one's-
morning, yeah, but the emails are slower.
So that I know that it kind of confused me, and I was like, turn that in.
I keep getting emails from Patron. Those are in the bookshop.
Yeah, another benefit to 1 day before the
It does sound like something that patron services should address, since those are representatives of people who are on the front lines most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably gonna have more experience, maybe.
Yeah.
People have had to deal with that.
Yeah. That's why I love opening the desk Monday mornings. I get all the, okay, this is what's going on.
Yes.
Or weekends.
Things you don't get in your office. Just-
Yeah.
So I have a referral to the Patron Services Committee with a preference for a more simplified language set, this reduced language, and then we'll revisit earlier auto renewals at a later meeting. Probably after talking to the services.
Can that be discussed at patron services also though, because it does tie in the day before auto renewal? Oh, I thought you meant discuss that after, back here after the, never mind.
Okay, yes, no, I meant both.
Okay, both at patron services and then bring it back here. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
See how many times.
Okay. Is there anything else? All right. Not, our next meeting is scheduled for October 8th at 1 p.m. Yep, we should be here. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, to adjourn.
Thank you, everyone.
You're much better at this than I was.
Really?
I can never remember the steps. Anna would look at me like,
Yes, I
we
feel like-
convene? I'm like, oh, yeah. Officially meeting now.
Thank you. I've sat through a few board meetings.
I've gotten better. I've gotten better at it. It's like, I can't help but notice.
Yeah.